God saved me for a reason, but I'm still searching for what that reason is.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I just got done watching Immaculate last night, and let me tell you what, I think this is the first good horror movie of 2024. Now, we're still early in the year, it's only March, and there hasn't been that many horror releases. I've only seen Night Swim and Imaginary, but out of those two, this movie is way better. I mean, gosh, those Blumhouse movies are so bad. Night Swim was at least a little bit fun, but Imaginary was straight up garbage. So when I saw Immaculate, I was like, yes, finally! This is what I needed. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece, but it's definitely a big step up from what we've been getting lately. So yeah, let's talk about why this movie is so much better. And number one, I'm gonna talk about the story. I thought the story was fantastic up until a certain point where there's like a reveal and everything kind of goes down. I kind of didn't like that part, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But as a whole, I thought the story was really good. It was very captivating and engaging. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, like waiting, like, oh my God. Like, there was a scene that as soon as that scene happened, I was like, okay, bet, I'm in. So like I said, it really grabs your attention. It's not like Imaginary or Night Swim where they have very generic plot lines and they just overuse common horror tropes. It actually has a story that grabs your attention and really is engaging. But as I mentioned earlier, there is a part in the movie that doesn't work for me, and that's like towards the end when everything is happening and they kind of show the reveal or the twist and they kind of explain everything to you. That really took me out of the moment, because up until that point, Sydney Sweeney's character is finding out things on her own. She's putting pieces of information together, and it's very interesting and keeps you glued to the screen because you're just so invested in what's happening and you're just uncovering everything right in front of you. But when the villain just comes out and flat out tells us what's happening and explains everything to the audience, it just feels very weak. And it was at this exact moment in the movie that I felt a little bit taken out of the moment. And I really feel like that just comes down to exposition, man. Exposition is so detrimental sometimes. It feels boring when someone just tells you everything. I mean, sure, it could be shocking, but it's much more impactful when we're shown. Like, before that moment, Sydney Sweeney's character is finding out things on her own. She's putting pieces of information together and she's finding out things through her own effort. That's way more engaging than just coming out and telling us, yo, this, and this. It's like, well, okay, like, now I'm just completely bored, and like, because before that, bro, I was in, I was engaged, I was on the edge of my seat, like, what is gonna happen next? I love the direction they're taking this in, and then boom, just like that, the tension just gets completely lost when he's just like,
yes, this, exposition.
So I will say that was a negative of the story, but overall, compared to what we've been getting this year, it is way above average. The story is way more captivating and engaging, and I really enjoyed it. Now let's move on to the acting, which is another thing that I think this movie was way better than the last couple horror movies I've seen. And I gotta give my hat off to Sydney Sweeney. She is spectacular, and she's been doing good lately. I mean, I did not see Madam Web. We do not speak of Madam Web on this. We do not speak of that movie, but I saw Anyone But You, which was a very fun romantic comedy, and now this movie, which is a completely different style of acting and like performance, and she nailed it, and I love this movie. So Sydney Sweeney, man, she's becoming a star low-key. There's not really any other performances that stand out because this movie really is centered around Sydney Sweeney and her character, so she really is the focus of this movie, and like I said, she nails it. There's one scene in particular towards the end where it's literally like pure acting, like, wow, she's great, like, she is talented, because there's no music, there's no dialogue, it's just straight up emotions, and she just hits a home run. And the last thing I appreciate about this movie is that it's not bombarded with jump scares. Oh my lord, Night Swim and Imaginary just had the worst horror tropes and jump scares sprinkled all throughout the film that it was just straight up annoying. Okay, I feel like I don't even think this movie has a jump scare. What does it? There's one jump scare when she's like confessing to the father, and then like they grab her from behind. That was a jump scare, but other than that, this movie really doesn't have that many jump scares, which I find very refreshing. There's no cheap pop-ups or loud sound effects that are just cliche at this point. As a matter of fact, this movie has the complete opposite, okay? Listen to this. Instead of having a loud sound or a jump scare or something come out of nowhere, this movie has a lot of dread. Scenes that are dreadful, scenes that you want to come to an end, which I find much more eerie than just a stupid, cheap jump scare coming out of nowhere. So let me give you an example. There's like scenes where she's in her room and she'll turn around and she sees like a figure in the shadow. She can't quite tell what it is. There's no loud jump sound. It's just there, and she's looking. It's like this staring battle, and you're just like, what is happening? Well, who is that? And then it just cuts to another scene. You're just like, that's it? Like, what? We have no answers? That is what this movie is. I'll give you another example where she's like, sees someone praying, and then she's like, are you okay? And it turns its head, and it's like a red face or like something with like a red cloak over it. Holy cow. No sound effects, no pop-up. It's very slow, and it just messes with your mind because it's just like, this doesn't add up. What is happening? And it just leaves you in that moment. It soaks you in the moment just for like a couple seconds, and then the scene ends. I'm telling you, bro, it's different. At least it's different. It spices things up from the generic jump scares that we've been getting over and over and over again. Jesus Christ. I felt this movie was so refreshing in so many regards. So it's not really even that much of a scary movie in that sense. Like, you're not gonna see jump scares. There's no, I mean, it is very disturbing. That's more how I would describe it. The idea, the concept, the story, the thing that is happening in the movie is very disturbing. You could say it's scary, but like I said, there's a lot more moments of dread, and you're gonna feel just terrible. I mean, there are some gory scenes. Like, there's one scene in particular where that's when the movie really kicked on for me, where I was like, oh my god, this movie got good now. And it's when they cut the tongue of one of the nuns, the friend of Sydney Sweeney, who started to speak up and make a scene, and then Sydney Sweeney sees her tongue getting cut off, and it's by these like people in these cloaks and the red mask that she saw earlier. That was so scary to me, bro. Just, I hate situations where you see something bad happening but you can't do anything about it. Like, what is she gonna do? She's gonna yell like, hey, what are you doing? Like, so then they can look at her and be like, oh, grab her and kill her too. Like, there's nothing you can do. And just seeing her get oh my god, I can't think about it. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a step up from the horror movies we've been getting this year specifically. And the reasons would be, the story is much more engaging. It's very well shot. The acting is way better. I mean, completely on a different level. And then it's not filled with cheap jump scares. It actually has dreadful, scary moments in the movie. So shout out Sydney Sweeney, shout out whoever directed the movie and produced it, and shout out to Nuns, bro. Nuns be taking over, bro. Last year in October we got The Nun 2. Now we got Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney, and then there's another movie. There's like The First Omen, which also has nuns, and I think there's another. It's like, holy cow, bro, there's just nuns everywhere. What's happening? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Immaculate down in the comments below. Do you agree it's a good movie? Let me know what you guys think about the nuns taking over the cinema industry. Leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.